You are Locked On Texas Tech, your daily podcast on the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Off, 2 more in a row here, you could see some start to create a little space here. But again, it's gonna take you winning a couple, because the some of these games are going to be played. It's just good that somebody's got to take a loss, and I think you'll start to see a little space created. But these games are just going to keep getting bigger, and so don't overlook Kansas. Don't assume anything. You don't want to be part of the storyline of what we were talking about with like Penn State over the weekend, Texas over the weekend, Clemson's start to the season. LSU's dropped a few, heck, Miami and Oregon, like everybody thought, maybe the 2 best teams in the country right now. I mean, yeah, that's the way everybody had it predicted, but that's the reality of what you're staring at right now.
One group clearly embarrassed over the weekend. Obviously that was the Longhorns, but another group as well, the Associated Press preseason voter.
Yep.
Also to El Salvador with you. I did make a case on the postgame patio report Saturday that maybe they should be locked up. And we released them, not eternally, but we released them like after 5 weeks into the season. All right, now you can do your pencil pushing and your voting and whatever. But you're in a supermax until that point in time, because your foolishness just can't be tolerated. I'm sure Florida's just really good, Chris. Florida's just really good, underrated, etc. And yeah, UCLA is really starting to figure it out and put it together. I'm sure. I have no doubt about that. And you can't blame a voter for that. What'd you make of opening up the week? I was making a guess at this Saturday night, Tech in Kansas. I was saying minus 13.5. I think I saw on FanDuel minus 14.5 for the Red Raiders to open the week. I mean, you're getting to a point, Chris, where you are, as far as the credibility, I guess, from afar, like I said on the show, for Red Raiders, obviously on the reaction show, for Red Raiders, belief is setting in that you've got a chance to do something really good. And I think clearly from a national perspective, that's happening as well, because, like when you're going to Salt Lake City and you're still kind of playing, I guess, you can play out this narrative in your locker room, underdog, nobody's believing in us, we're doubted, etc. That's going to kind of spend here as we get into some of these weeks. You continue to stack wins. It'll be interesting to see how the team handles sort of a different kind of challenge that way. First, today's episode brought to you by Mazda. And Mazda crafts cars for those who choose to do more than simply move. They follow what moves them every time they drive. And that's what makes Mazda stand out. They go beyond safety, style, and performance to deliver a driving experience that feels alive in every detail. And with Mazda, your family's safety is number one. And that's why Mazda's won more 2025 IIHS Top Safety Pick awards than anybody else. And Mazda offers more than safety with smooth handling, intuitive controls, and standard all-wheel drive in every crossover SUV. It's the small details that make the big plays. And just like there's more to every player, there's more to a Mazda vehicle. Mazda, move and be moved. Today's episode brought to you by Monarch Money. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all the money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it can be easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so you stop just managing your money and start building wealth. You're going to love the all-in-one convenience. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, and even plan long-term goals. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money today. Use our code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com and our code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year.
Yeah, and Joey, this was something we talked about during the broadcast on Saturday as well. Joey's really messaged to his team, and he's going to kind of have to – this is where you find out a lot about how teams are wired, and coaches have to really get deep in their bag as far as like the messages that these kids hear week to week, because the tests get bigger, more important, and – it's like, how much of your best stuff are you unleashing in week 3? Because you got to save some, or you got to. But what they heard last week and he could double down here this week again. He won't need to pull out much for the Arizona State week. He just won't. But like, this is a week where it's like an arrogance versus confidence battle that you have going on internally. And he wants his kids to be confident, not arrogant. And that this is what as we talked about on the broadcast, this is what the team heard from him Friday night before the game in Houston. He had gotten some things from some fellow high school coaches, and that was really the gist. Arrogance versus confidence is a nasty internal battle sometimes, and
Sure.
and that's the battle that they will continue to fight right now. But I just love how grounded they are, and it's so fascinating in that everybody tries to. It's like the camp thing that we were talking about. Like you're being labeled as this, and it's you've made it, and you've got this bullseye on your back, and yet you get around them, and they're all very hungry. They're all very well aware of all the naysaying that was done, or the money conversation that has gone on, and yet they are really aware that they were brought here because this group or this program hasn't done the thing yet, right? You haven't done the thing. And so while everybody is like, oh man, it now runs through Lubbock, or man, they're going to host a playoff game, or they're a shoe-in, they're this, they're that. You're 2 games into a conference schedule that includes a full 9 games. You still have 7 to go. And yet, so this group is still very hungry and motivated and all that. But that's the battle that Coach McGuire is facing right now. You're going to continue to be. I'm guessing you will be favored when you go to Tempe, but if it would be barely. And some of that's going to play out on the result from this weekend and the health status of various people and how Arizona State favors. But that's really maybe the only game that I would say you're not it would be a question mark on if you're favored in the rest of the regular season. And that's a scary life to live, but this is the air you're breathing now.
That's the pressure you wanted, as opposed to it being the last 2 weeks of November and we need a 6th win kind of pressure.
Yes. Yeah.
So you're glad to be here, but it is a different kind of pressure. And I would say, I don't think I'm just crafting something out of nothing here, but I would still say that I don't think Coach McGuire in his era, his team has yet lived up to the big buildup at home, and then you go out and you smash and everybody parties late into the night. This is not your biggest home game, I don't think, stakes-wise. Still looking ahead to like BYU, but this is a big event, and we've had some of these home buildups with like Baylor coming to town before, and boom, you don't show up, you don't answer the bell.
And this is the scar tissue you're talking
so
about.
Can I still say that sort of is a thing? I don't feel like I'm just making that up out of nothing. I still sort of feel like that's a box that hadn't quite been checked just yet.
I think okay, so you have 4 home games left. You have Kansas, you have Oklahoma State, you have BYU, and you have UCF in this order. The BYU is going to be the toughest game, but Kansas is easily the second toughest of the 4 remaining home games. But these are scary in that anytime you face a really good quarterback that can pull a rabbit out of its hat or keep a team in a game or take off and run and punish it, that's just a scary proposition. It doesn't matter how good you are on defense or how bad you've been on defense. It doesn't matter. That is still a thing until it's not. But yeah, the precipice of like really, because you want to set up a fun game in Tempe. That's what you really want to point toward, and you want to give yourself a chance. And I'm not going to just stress too much about Kansas, but anybody that like overlooks them or thinks that Jalen Daniels is this or that, it's a goofy offense to try to defend. It's a lot of smoke and mirrors, but the quarterback, he just makes things go at times when nothing is there. And they trailed in Orlando for part of that game and able to pull off a road win, a long ways from home, coming off of a loss. So yeah, there's a Willie Fritz component to this too. Lance Leipold is just a really good coach, and so you got to be careful there. But can we talk trench work again?
Yeah, we got to. Are you talking trench work or trench shopping?
Yes. All of it.
Let's
it doesn't matter.
a name that you need to commit to memory. Jalen Brewster, the latest 5-star addition. What a sentence to say. The latest 5-star addition for Texas.